Ever get to the end of the day and think, wait, where did all the time go?
It's a feeling we all know too well. Right.
Totally. So today we're going deep on a text that tackles that feeling head on.
Oh, this should be good. What are we diving into?
Seneca's On the Shortness of Life. And you wouldn't believe how much this 2,000-year-old text applies to our modern, always-on lives.
Really? 2,000 years old. That's wild. Okay, so what's the gist?
Well, what's fascinating about Seneca is that he sort of flips the script. He argues that life isn't actually short.
Hmm.
We're just really bad at using the time that we have.
Oh, I like that. It's not that life is short, we just waste a lot of it.
Exactly. He wants us to think about time like an investment.
Okay.
Something we need to manage super carefully to get the maximum return.
I'm intrigued.
So there's this analogy in the book that honestly blew my mind.
Okay.
Imagine a bank account that gets a deposit of $86,400 every single day,
Whoa.
but then it resets to zero at midnight.
Okay, that's a lot of pressure.
Right. Wouldn't you be spending every single penny wisely?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd be thinking about every purchase carefully.
Well, that's exactly the point.
I see where you're going with this.
We get 86,400 seconds each day,
Right.
and they're gone, whether we use them or not.
Poof. Vanished.
Exactly. And Seneca argues that we tend to blow this precious resource on things that don't actually matter
Yeah, those time wasters that leave you feeling empty at the end of the day.
and lead to that feeling of a short life.
I'm already feeling called out, so what are we supposed to do about it?
Well, Seneca doesn't just call out the problem, he actually names the culprits. He identifies 3 traps that fuel this feeling that life is just slipping through our fingers.
3 traps. Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear about these traps. What are they?
He calls them leisure, luxury, and legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a lot sneakier than they sound.
Okay, sneaky tracks. Great.
Leisure, for example, isn't just about, relaxation. It's more about constantly putting off living a full life because you're always waiting for someday.
Oh, so like retirement or that big vacation you're always planning.
Exactly. Retirement, vacation, whatever it is, you're stuck dreaming instead of actually doing.
Always living for the future instead of the present.
Right.
Okay, I get that. But wouldn't you say that a little leisure is important? I mean, we can't be on all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Rest and rejuvenation, super important.
Yeah.
Seneca's point is that true leisure comes from doing things that bring us genuine joy and fulfillment right now. Not just promising ourselves happiness in the future. It's about finding meaning in the present moment.
That makes sense. Okay, so what about the trap of luxury? It feels like that's one we're all constantly bombarded with these days.
Oh, for sure. This trap is all about chasing material possessions, always wanting bigger and better. The nicer house, fancier car, the exotic vacation. The thing is, Seneca was writing about this 2,000 years ago.
Really? 2,000 years ago? Wow. So it's not a new problem.
Not at all. It's a human tendency. But he argues that true satisfaction doesn't come from what you own.
It's more about how you relate to those things.
Exactly. Always wanting more. Never really ends well, does it?
Definitely not. It's a recipe for always feeling dissatisfied.
Okay, so that one hits home.
Yeah.
What about that third trap? Legacy.
Okay, legacy. Lay it on me.
This one is about getting so caught up in how you'll be remembered after you're gone that you forget to actually live now.
Ah, so you're so busy building your monument that you miss out on enjoying life.
Exactly.
That's deep.
It really is.
So how do we know if we're falling into one of these traps?
Well, Seneca has this super powerful question that helps us spot them.
Okay, give it to me.
If you did an activity for 24 hours straight, would it amount to anything meaningful?
Oh, wow.
If not, it might be a sign you're stuck in one of those traps.
That's a really good question, like a litmus test for how we're spending our time.
Exactly. And it highlights the difference between being busy and being truly engaged in a life that matters. You can spend 24 hours scrolling social media, but will that leave any lasting impact?
Probably not.
So that's some food for thought.
Definitely. But all this talk of traps is a little, well, daunting.
Right, like, okay, I'm doing everything wrong.
Yeah, exactly. How do we shift from just being busy to actually living a life that feels meaningful? Where do we even begin?
Well, Seneca uses this brilliant analogy of a ship to illustrate how we can approach life more intentionally.
Okay, I love a good analogy. Let's hear it.
He says, a ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for.
They're meant to sail, to explore, to face the open sea.
Exactly. And he points out that some people are like ships constantly changing course, never really reaching their destination.
Like they're just drifting at the mercy of the winds and the tides.
Right. Or maybe they've even got someone else at the helm.
So they're letting external forces control their journey.
Exactly. Always reacting, never deciding their own course.
Mm. Oh, I know people like that.
Then there are those who are stuck in the harbor, afraid to even set sail. They're prioritizing safety and comfort over the potential risks and rewards of venturing out.
Okay, playing it safe, never taking a chance.
But Seneca says the saddest thing is sailing according to someone else's map.
Meaning what?
You might end up somewhere, but it's not where you're truly intended to be. It's not your journey.
Wow, that image of sailing by someone else's map, that it really hits home. It's like
Okay.
living according to someone else's expectations, values, dreams, instead of your own.
Exactly.
So I have to ask our listener, are you sailing your own ship? Are you charting your own course or letting others dictate your journey?
It's a powerful question to consider, isn't it?
Really powerful. And that's something we'll explore more in part 2 of this deep dive.
Stay tuned. Are we really at the helm of our own lives?
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves, right?
For sure. Because if we're not careful, it's easy to get, swept along by other people's priorities.
Expectations, all that noise.
Yeah.
And that's where Seneca's wisdom goes beyond just like pointing out the problem.
Okay.
He actually gives us tools to navigate these challenges.
Right.
He talks about the importance of 2, what he calls invincible powers that we all possess.
Invincible powers. I like the sound of that.
Contemplation and appreciation.
Okay, so are these like our inner compass and life jacket, helping
Yeah.
us stay on course
I like that.
and find joy even when things get a little rough?
You could say that. Contemplation is about taking time for reflection.
Right.
It's stepping back from the busyness
All that noise.
to consider what truly matters to us.
Okay.
Learning from our experiences, good and bad, and using that knowledge to make more intentional choices.
I can see how that ties back to the ship analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Contemplation's like taking a moment to look at your map, check your compass, make sure you're still heading the direction you want to go.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about appreciation? Where does that fit in?
Appreciation is all about savoring the journey, not just focusing on the destination. Okay. It's about noticing the beauty and goodness in the present moment,
Yeah,
even amidst challenges.
even when things are tough.
It's choosing to focus on what we're grateful for, big or small, instead of, dwelling on what's missing.
So it's like instead of always looking ahead to the next court, you're taking time to appreciate the sunrise, the feel of the wind in your hair, the camaraderie of your crew.
Absolutely.
I found that practicing gratitude, even when things are tough, can be a real game changer.
Right.
It shifts your perspective
For sure.
and helps you find those little pockets of joy that might otherwise go unnoticed.
Absolutely. And Seneca's point is that these 2 powers,
Okay.
contemplation and appreciation, they can't be taken away from us by external circumstances.
Oh, wow. So they're internal.
Internal resources.
That nobody can touch.
Exactly. They're always available to us no matter what's happening in our lives.
That's so reassuring.
Right.
It's like having these, secret weapons in your arsenal that you can pull out whenever you need them.
I love that image.
So we've got these traps to watch out for, these invincible powers to cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to take in,
It is. It's a lifetime's work, really.
right?
But what's so remarkable is that, Seneca was writing about this 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
And it's just as relevant today. Human nature hasn't changed that much.
it's true.
Right. We still fall into the same traps,
Mm-hmm.
but we also have access to the same wisdom.
And it sounds like what Seneca's really getting at is that it's not about how much time we have, but how we choose to use it.
That's the heart of it. It's not about adding years to our lives, but about adding life to our years.
Oh, I love that.
And it's never too late to start.
It's so much more empowering than just wishing for more time. Right?
It is. It puts the control back in our hands.
It really does.
Seneca reminds us that we can change course at any moment.
Okay.
It's like, realizing you've been sailing in the wrong direction.
Right.
You can adjust your sails, set a new course,
Hmm.
and start heading toward a destination that truly aligns with your values.
But what if you don't even know what your, true north is?
Yeah.
What if you're, feeling lost at sea, so to speak?
That's where those invincible powers come in.
Okay.
Contemplation can help you, clarify what matters most.
Okay.
Ask yourself those big questions.
Yeah.
What brings you joy? What impact do you want to make? What legacy do you want to leave? Not, in the grand sense, but in your everyday life.
So it's not just about thinking about your death, but about living in a way that feels meaningful right now.
Exactly. And appreciation helps you find those little moments of fulfillment along the way.
Right.
It's about cultivating a mindset of gratitude for the good things you already have, even as you're working towards something more.
It's like finding those hidden treasures on the journey, not just waiting for the big X on the map.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Seneca's On the Shortness of Life, I'm curious, what stands out to you, dear listener? What's resonating most from this conversation?
I'd love for you to consider this. What's one small step you can take today to start living more intentionally? Maybe it's setting aside 10 minutes for reflection each morning, or practicing gratitude by, writing down 3 things you're thankful for at the end of each day.
It could be as simple as putting down your phone and really engaging in a conversation with someone you care about,
Oh, yeah,
or taking a walk in nature and appreciating the beauty around you.
absolutely.
It's about reclaiming those 86,400 seconds
Yeah.
each day and making conscious choices about how you invest them.
Remember, it's never too late to change course.
Yeah.
Seneca's wisdom gives us a timeless roadmap to a richer, more fulfilling life, not measured in years, but in the depth and quality of our experiences.
So go out there and start creating a life that feels truly long and well lived.